I'd like to start this meeting by saying Happy Pride Month, but you know what, guys? It's really not. James, you want to start by telling us what's going on?
Yeah, Steph. Hey, man, it's bizarre, right? We're in bizarre world. Besides the fact that behind you, it looks like the apocalypse, right? And there's wildfires in Canada that is blowing smoke into the northeastern United States, and the air quality is terrible. And that is very representative of sort of the state of affairs in the United States now concerning rights, human rights, civil rights. We're in this sort of an apocalyptic kind of a setting where the NAACP issued a travel ban for the state of Florida, saying that the state is openly hostile towards African Americans and people from the LGBTQ plus community. And now the Human Rights Campaign issued a state of emergency for the United States, saying that, rights and laws and policies across the United States are at an all-time low, right? This is the worst year. Last year was the worst year on record for human rights for the LGBTQ community in the United States. And this year it's become twice as bad as it was last year. And last year was already a record low.
It's really traumatizing. And as you guys know, I'm a member of the LGBT community. James, you're an ally. Tracey, you're a parent and an ally.
Honestly, it is traumatizing because one, my son is our first of all, my son's a black male and he's gay. So he basically is, I guess, double not safe in this country. I'm from the South. My son was born and raised in Atlanta primarily. So it's also sad because I recently was talking to my son about where I would be buried, and I was telling him maybe Tennessee, and he said, no, I don't want to bury you someplace where someday I may not be able to visit because I am gay. And it just really breaks my heart to think we've come this far to go backwards and that people are just cruel. Like, we live it as Black people. Now we're living it, especially if you're Black and you're gay. And something has to change. Something has to change. But yes, I fear for my child even as an adult male. Every time he leaves the house, like, he wants to celebrate Pride, but I'm afraid if you go to the parade, will some animal decide that they want to kill gay people? If you go out to a club, or it's really hard. Like, if people understood what that felt like as a parent, to carry that burden of fear every time your child leaves the house. I mean, I don't know if you're a parent and you can't even imagine feeling that, but just thinking about, I am a parent and I wouldn't want another parent to feel that way. It seems like people would, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how to change people or how to make them understand, but it is like, literally, I don't want to cry, but it just breaks me. It's just, this country is breaking me as a Black woman, as a parent to a Black male. Just this country, like, I understand, I know our ancestors went through far worse, and I I hope we're built for it, but it's exhausting. It really is.
I think I feel your pain, Tracey. This is a tough day for all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, the situation with me is I'm white. I can blend. I can go to meetings with James. I can walk into buildings. I can walk down the street, and I can, what's the word? I can fit in. I don't, I can make myself. But it's sad that I have to think about that, and I do think about that now. The other night, as you guys know, I live in the Bronx, and I saw you. We're out on the street, I was out in front of my friend's bar and hanging out, having a good time, laughing, and I saw two white gay men walking down the street holding hands, and I was fearful for them. I saw a group of people that they were walking towards, and I was just like, I wanted to go up to them, James, and say, guys, you need to be careful. But then I thought, they have a right to walk down the street and hold hands. But yeah, this is tough. This is a tough one.
Yeah, Steph, it is, and Tracey, it's heartbreaking. The term you were looking for, Steph, is you can pass.
Yeah.
pass for straight, right? For a straight white man, and you can have the societal protections and privileges that come with being, a straight white man. Um, but then, like Tracey said, she can't pass. I can't pass for being white because we're African American. And then her son is doubly unsafe, right? He can't pass for being, a straight white man. And as he expresses himself and who he truly is, he endangers himself. And I can't get over the apocalyptic setting in your background that just says we are in an apocalyptic kind of a time. I know our ancestors went through a lot. They did. But we are certainly in a time of our own generation where we are not safe in so many different regards.
James, Tracey, one thing I can say about the LGBT community is we're incredibly resilient. And, pardon my language, but not to be fucked with. The LGBT community are warriors, they're fighters, they will fight to the death. We've seen it historically. We've been marginalized. You saw it at Stonewall, where there's been history will play out again and again. But the LGBT community is mobilized, it's intelligent, and we have the backing of other great communities like the Black community, the Jewish community, all different kinds of communities. So we don't stand alone in this battle.
Minority equals a majority.
Right.
And they are awakening sleeping giants. And I mean giants. And it is not going to fare well for these people.
Have you seen the reality flag that HRC launched the campaign? I think it was last year, 2022 timeframe, but it's called the reality flag. And it is an American flag with 29 stars removed. And it shows only 21 stars where there's some modicum of protection for LGBTQ plus rights in those states. It shows you that in over half of the country, it's not a safe, it's not a conducive environment. It's not a supportive environment. And there's a building size mural at HRC headquarters. And I'll see if I can put a picture in here of it that shows that flag. It's really powerful. Folks should go check that out at HRC site.
Yeah. And James, for the view, can you tell people what HRC is? Because sometimes some people may not know that.
Sure.
Yes. HRC is the Human Rights Campaign. They're headquartered in Washington, D.C. It is the nation's leading advocacy group for LGBTQ plus rights.
Okay.
So, James, our umbrella, and Tracey, our umbrella is safety. And I don't want to sound, trivialize this, but James, really, what would be some safety tips that you would suggest to members of the LGBT community that are planning to partake in events across the country? Because, James, it has really changed my thinking on what I'm going to do and where I'm going to go and what I'm going to participate in, how I'm going to get there.
We need to really start talking about safety and safety measures for individuals on a regular basis. People have to, I don't know, I have promoted for my kids to really have private gatherings or go to places where there is very high level security, like people are being checked at the door and things like that, membership clubs and things like that. But James, I'm curious, from a super expert at safety, what you suggest and recommend.
Well, thanks, Steph, and thanks, Tracey. I agree that it starts with first educating yourself, right? It starts with making sure that you have a sense of knowledge and understanding about your environment, right? And there's ways that you can do that. Again, the Human Rights Campaign, HRC, has just published kind of a go, no go chart. If you go to their website and you look at their state of emergency they've just declared for the United States, there's a table that shows you, kind of the good and the bad of policies and which states have which. And so it's a really nice kind of a one-page chart, a graphic, where you can kind of reference your state and look at the laws that are either for you or against you in that state. And so that's the first thing I tell people to do, is check out those kinds of resources, the Human Rights Campaign and others, the NAACP, for African Americans, the Anti-Defamation League for Jewish Americans and such, right? And so educate yourself first, know your environment. I would also, like you said, Tracey, recommend that folks look for those places that have those extra security measures, have metal detectors at the door, for example. And then, lastly, there are tools out there, right? Of course, I have a company and I started a company to provide those kinds of tools to our nation and to the world. And Angel Tech is a live streaming body camera. It's available in the App Store and the Google Play Store, and it helps build community, it helps protect communities, and it helps create a record of an event with the geolocation, with a map that says, hey, this is where this is happening, and it shows your loved ones where you are, when, and if you need them most. And it ties everybody together in the cloud. And so I would recommend those sorts of things, become aware, look for places that have extra safety measures, and then use tools that are available to help connect and unite and protect you and your community.
I think that's great. If I can jump in on that, I would say, guys, girls, friends, stick in groups. Don't go out by yourself. Don't be on your phones. I see that all the time. Have your phones. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't get lost in your phone when you're in public. And if you see something, say something. It's a good old slogan up here in New York, Tracey, but that's it. I mean, look, I don't want this to be Debbie Downer and not tell people to go out. Please go. You have a right to go and have a great time and celebrate and show who you are in your true colors and be proud. But we just want you to be safe, and that's why we wanted to do this. Guys, final thoughts. I think we should keep this short today. I think it's been very powerful. Tracey, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Safety first, until you know for sure that you are in an environment that is safe and welcoming to you, and probably stay out of red states. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. Don't spend your money in the states where you're not welcome. I mean, that's a
Do
no.
not spend a nickel, not a nickel.
I won't work in Florida. I won't travel to Florida. Don't even send me on an assignment to Florida. I'm not going. I'm sorry.
I do think it's important, like if we could put the link to HRC on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
post.
James, if you could also put a link into your app, I would love all the members of the LGBTQ plus community to utilize your app. It's important, to be, preemptive. We don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, but it's also, if it does, if something goes down that's not feeling right, we've got a record of it. It's recorded. And it's a second, third level of safety that make people feel more comfortable knowing that they have your app downloaded. I'm not doing an infomercial for your app, but this is one of those times we need it.
Listen,
It's good.
and
I just want to,
everyone needs it.
right. And I want to say to members of the LGBT community and everybody else, if you see someone that, might be in peril or isn't by themselves, ask them to join, check if they're okay. I think sometimes within our community, there's a lot of division, Tracey, with the trans community and in the Black LGBT community and the lesbian. Guys, this is the year, right now, it's the year to come together. Everybody together, look out for each other, be safe. James, final word. Tracey, I can't believe that, we're here today, but I'm so happy that we had the time to do this.
That's great.
Yeah, Steph, thanks. Again, great conversation, really meant to help people stay safe, and I agree with both of you guys. Don't spend your money where you're not welcomed or invited, right, Steph? That's a huge point. And, go out in groups, all the things we just talked about. But the last thing I guess I'd say is make sure you vote, right? Exercise the greatest power in our democracy that we have to be preemptive and make sure that those folks at the school board level, at the county level, at the state level, at the federal level, in the courts, not just every 4 years, but at every single election, make sure you vote. That's how we're really going to change the tide here.
Excellent, guys. Stay safe. We'll see each other next week.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Stay safe out there.
We're off, guys. That was fantastic.